Hello and welcome to Pokemon Lair. Today I'll be unboxing this box of 10 Pokemon cards I sent to Professional Sports Authority to be graded about a year ago, and I just got them back. You receive them in this nice little box, packaged very well so that they arrive at your house safe and sound. Let me get them out of this box and I'll check what grades we got. Our grade review of a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket The Boss's Way, a first edition, the number 73 card. Looking at the front surface and graphics of this card, you can see that they look really good. I don't see any damage. The centering looks really good from top to bottom and left to right on this trainer, and our corners and edges, I don't see any damage. Moving along to the back, you can see that the surface looks really good. No problems with the graphics. Looking at our centering though, from top to bottom and left to right, I think it's a little towards the bottom and also to the right and left. And finally, looking at our corners and our edges, I think there's a little slight damage to the upper right corner. And that's going to give us a grade of near mint 8. Not too bad. Our grade review of a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Dark Vileplume, a first edition, the number 30 card. Looking at this card, you can see the front surface and graphics are really nice and beautiful. There's no damage. Looking at our centering from top to bottom and left to right, it looks really good. I believe it's within tolerance. And finally, looking at our corners and our edges, I don't see any damage that can affect the grade. Moving to the back, you can see that the surface looks really good. The graphics are beautiful. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right look really good. And finally, looking at our corners and our edges, I don't see any damage there that can affect it. So I bet you we're going to get a good grade. Probably a 10. And the survey says a Gem Mint 10. Very, very nice. Our grade review of a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Digger, the number 75 card. Looking at this card, you can see that the front surface is pretty clean and the graphics are nice. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right is quite a bit off to the left. And finally, looking at our edges and our corners, I don't see any damage at all. Continuing to the back, you can see that the surface and graphics look really nice. Looking at our centering, it is slightly to the right, but better than, less than the off-centered on the front. And finally, looking at our edges and our corners, you can see that there's some slight damage to the right corners. And that's going to give us a grade of near mint 7 for this digger. Awesome. Our grade review of a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Imposter Oak's Revenge, a first edition, the number 76 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, it looks really good. The graphics are nice. Looking at our centering from top to bottom and left to right, they look pretty good. And so does our edges and our corners. I don't see any problems there. As I flip to the back, you can see that the surface and graphics are nice and clean. Our centering looks pretty good from side to side and top to bottom. Finally, looking at our edges and our corners, there's slight damage to the lower right corner. And that's going to produce a grade of mint 9. That's pretty darn good. Our grade review of a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Nightly Garbage Run, the first edition, the number 77 card. Looking at this nightly garbage run, you can see that the graphics in the front surface have no damage. Our centering from top to bottom looks good. Our left to right centering looks good. And our corners and our edges aren't too bad. But as we flip this card over and look at the back, you can see that the surface looks good. There's no damage to the graphics. Our centering looks within tolerance from top to bottom, left to right. But as we look at our edges and our corners, you can see that there's some damage on all 4 corners, and a couple of them are pretty gnarly. I'm not expecting a high grade, but let's see. A near mint 7, better than I thought. Our grade review of a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Goop Gas Attack, a first edition number 78 card. The front graphics and surface of this card have no damage or dirt or anything like that. Our centering from top to bottom and side to side are within tolerance and look really good. Our edges are crisp and our corners are clean and with no damage. As we look at the back, it looks as good as the front. There's no damage or problems with the graphics or surface. Looking at our centering from top to bottom and left to right, it looks really good within tolerance for the back. And finally, our corners and our edges look pretty good. I think this is going to be a great card. And our grade is going to be a Gem Mint 10. That's pretty darn good. Woo! Our grade review of a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Sleep, the number 79 card. Looking at this card, you can see that the surface and graphics look really good. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right, I think, are within tolerance for the front of the card, and our edges and our corners don't show any damage. Looking at the back of the card, you can see that the surface and graphics of the card have no damage. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right look pretty good. I don't think they're out of tolerance. Looking at our edges and our corners, I think there's a slight damage on the lower right, which can affect our grade. And our Sleep's going to get a grade of Mint 9. Pretty good. Our grade review of a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Rainbow Energy, the first edition, the number 80 card. Looking at the front surface of this card, you can see that the graphics are wonderful. I love the rainbow. Looking at the centering on this card, it looks good from top to bottom and left to right. And looking at our edges and our corners, I don't see any problems there. The back side of the card looks really good. The graphics look great, not as compared to the rainbow, but going on to our centering, it looks good from side to side and top to bottom. And finally, our corners and edges look really good. I think this is going to be another great card. And our grade for this Rainbow Energy is a Gem Mint 10. Awesome. Nice. I love it. Our grade review of a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Full Heal Energy, a first edition, the number 81 card. As we look at this card, you can see the surface and the front graphics are really clean. There's no damage. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right look really good, and our edges and our corners don't show any damage that I can see. As we look at the back, you can see that the graphics and the surface are really clean. There's no damage. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right are pretty good. And finally, looking at our corners and our edges, the two right corners have very, very slight damage. And this energy is going to get a grade of Mint 9. That's pretty great. I like it. Our grade review of a 2000 Pokemon Team Rocket Potion Energy, a first edition, the number 82 card. Looking at the front surface and graphics of this card, there's no damage that I can see. And as we look at our centering from top to bottom and left to right, I think it's within tolerance. And finally, our corners and edges are really clean. There's no damage that I can tell. As we flip the card over and check the back, you can see that the graphics and surface are really clean. There's no damage. As we turn to our centering, you can see that the centering doesn't look too bad from top to bottom, but from left to right, I think it's slightly to the left. And finally, as we get to our edges and our corners, you can see that there's some damage to the right corners, especially the upper right. And that's going to give us a grade of near Mint 8. Not too bad for that energy. Well, I hope you liked this video, and if you did, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button below, and come back and watch some more of these videos. I'll be putting them out as soon as I can. And you got to remember, got to catch them all.